So, Scott, good morning to you. Let's begin with the comments that Trump made about Pierre Poilievre and how it's being interpreted by Poilievre and the Liberals.
Oh boy, that stirred up the hornet's nest, didn't it? Because what no one wants in this campaign that's coming very soon, this general election we're going to be having, is Trump's endorsement. No one wants Trump to touch them. No one wants Trump to bless them. That's the taint. You don't want to be anywhere near it. Which begs the question, is this what it looks like? Is Donald Trump actually endorsing Mark Carney? Or is he giving us a head fake and pretending to endorse Mark Carney because he really wants the Conservatives? So they're having this ridiculous fight. One thing we know for sure, this gets political tongues a-wagging, and boy, did the Conservatives jump on it fast. They look so thirsty. See, he's endorsing Mark Carney. This is the theater of politics, and we're going to get plenty of it in the next 30, 40 days.
Yeah, and I think it just goes to show that whatever Trump says, all the campaigns are going to glob onto it and spin it the way they want the Canadian public to see it.
Well, and this is going to be the defining characteristic of this federal campaign. We know that the ballot question is going to be, who do you think is best suited to deal with Trump? Who do you think is best suited to deal with these frictions with the United States? And that's why it does when he intervenes like this. That's why we will see so much action and energy around it. Just as we saw how it affected on a day-by-day basis the Ontario campaign that we went through just a few weeks ago. So all I can say with certainty is this. We will hear more from Trump, and it will also affect our daily news coverage, our daily attitude, and our daily, sort of approach to this coming election campaign. This thing's going to be the Trump election, whether we like it or not.
Speaking of this campaign, and we don't know when it's going to be, I'd like to get your take on that in just a second. But whenever the election is called and the campaign starts, we've learned that the Conservatives are not going to be allowing media to travel with Pierre Poilievre. What do you make of this?
I don't like it. And there's a lot of legitimate reasons for this. We've seen the ability of media organizations to pay. We've seen the willingness of media organizations to pay to be part of what we call, the media plane, the media bus, the media tour. We've seen their willingness to chalk up and to guarantee their presence on campaigns diminish over the course of the last number of years as, mainstream media financial models have shifted. But there is a fundamental underlying principle here, which is that those who are seeking to be prime minister and to run the country ought to subject themselves on a constant and consistent basis to hard probing and questioning. They should. This will mean that there will be less media scrutiny of the Conservative campaign. Already we see that they frequently give preference, to online media organizations who have less rigorous editorial practices or openly partisan impulses. And, whether it's prime ministers who are liberal that try to duck media press conferences, or whether it's Conservatives saying, we don't want a media plane, we'll just deal with a couple of local media here and there and call it a day. This is not good. Democracy runs best in the presence of sunshine. Part of the job of reporters, whether politicians like it or not, is to ask them tough questions and to shine that beam of sunlight into their campaign.
Lastly, I do want to ask you about the timing of the election, because I think a lot of people are asking when it's going to be, what has to happen before that call is made. Can you give us some insight into what could be going on behind the scenes with the Liberals, with Carney's camp, and when we might see that call come down?
I think you're going to see it within days. I think that with the resumption of Parliament scheduled for Monday, it's a safe bet that the new Prime Minister isn't going to want to have Parliament resume, because he then loses control of his own future. His ability to govern and the timing of the election would then be dictated by the opposition parties. They'll defeat him in the House of Commons. So my suspicion is he's going to, as we've seen this week, continue to make a few announcements, take some steps, try to reinforce the notion of himself as a new prime minister, representing change, looking prime ministerial, foreign trips, moving up to Nunavut, talking about key priorities. And then he's going to pull the plug on this thing and force the question around Trump, around tariffs, and around our economic security. And I'm guessing that that's going to happen this weekend, and we'll have an election at the end of April.
And lastly, a quick answer, please. Would you predict a short campaign or a long campaign?
I think it'll be a short campaign. It could be as short as 36, 37 days or as long as 51. think we're going to see a short campaign. But Carney's got momentum. You want to maintain that when you're running.
Scott Reid for us this morning. He is our political commentator. Scott, good to see you as always. Thanks so much.